We did an informal poll where we asked a question of about a dozen people. Who do you think the Democratic leader is?
That is a very tricky question. I would say Cory Booker. Jamie Rascin has been doing the rounds. Jasmine.
AOC, Cory Booker. They might mention Bernie. They might mention Rascin. We heard a bunch. Jasmine Crockett. I think everybody said her name.
A lot of people said Jasmine Crockett.
She was the most common.
Really?
In the list, I think she might have been named the most.
Oh, that's fascinating. Welcome to the United Front show, where today we participated in and
our second protest. Well, my second protest.
It's great to see you, by the way, out there in action. And we did an informal poll where we asked a question of about a dozen people. Who do you think the Democratic leader is? Is that the way you worded the question most of the time?
Who do you think the leader in the Democrat Party is? Or who is the leader of the Democrats? Who's running the ship? Who's the one everyone's looking up to?
Yeah.
All the Republicans, for example, look to Trump.
Right.
Do we have anything similar to that?
Exactly. And I felt like I went into that thinking the most common answer is going to be, I don't know that there is one.
Yeah.
Or the one maybe I was hoping for was going to be AOC or Bernie.
Yeah.
And
I think I went in hoping to be an I don't know, which I don't want anyone to have such dogmatic beliefs about a candidate this soon after an election.
Okay.
I want everyone to kind of see where everyone's at and see where the country goes.
I like it.
So I was hoping everyone said, I don't know. But I was even more surprised. Like I was thinking I was going to get some good stuff. And then it was even better than I had hoped for.
Yeah.
So it was really good out there.
Yeah, really good out there. So let's break down the numbers.
Okay. 10 to 12, it depends. There's a couple people who kind of chimed in a little. So it depends.
Oh, right. Because it was
how you measure.
Yeah.
We stopped like 6 or 7 times, but a couple of them were 2 people.
So let's say about a dozen people.
About a dozen.
But small sample size.
Yeah, this was a Rasmussen poll. This is a quality poll. Okay? You can extrapolate
a Quinnipiac?
Yeah, you can extrapolate this to the nation. This is that Iowa poll from late before the election.
This is equivalent to that post-debate MSNBC where there's 12 undecided voters in the room.
Yeah.
Like that's supposed to represent everybody. But so that's what we just did. But we did it to people that are at an anti-Trump protest. So these are people that are on our team.
On our team and probably invested more than the average person. Who do the people on our team think is the leaders?
Yeah, right.
So a couple answers. We got, who would I say would be the most I heard?
Yeah, of a dozen or so people. What was the most common answer? It was
probably AOC or Cory Booker.
Well, I don't think that was the most common answer.
Probably.
I think the most common answer was, that's a tough question.
True.
I don't really know.
True. Well, no, hold on. The reason I'm giving you multiple is each person said AOC, Cory Booker. They might mention Bernie. They might mention Rascin. We heard a bunch. Jasmine Crockett. I think everybody said her name.
A lot of people said Jasmine Crockett.
But if you notice, I'm saying several names from each person.
Each person listed several people.
Several names.
Yes.
Each person listed what would be the full lineup for the 2028 presidential debates.
Possibly.
They gave me a lineup of people. No one was pulling ahead for anybody's answer. It was always, that's a tough question. Oh, wow, that is a tricky question. I got that every time.
I was surprised to hear the names Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries, I think twice.
Cory Booker showed up more than twice.
More than twice for Cory Booker.
Far more than twice, yeah.
So that's interesting. But I think that's a reflection of the fact that his 24-hour thing was covered by the media.
Yeah, it ended up getting coverage. She demanded coverage.
I would make the argument that Bernie and AOC in front of 35,000 people is as significant of a news story, as a relevant news story.
Far less.
But covered far less.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was a big deal when he did, the 24-hour
It is, broke the record.
Yeah, it broke the record. Everything
broke the record from a segregationist.
I was waiting for the history lesson.
Hell of a job there, Cory Booker.
Yeah, folks, you're not going to get through this without a history lesson.
Yeah, no. Hell of a job. So AOC's been making the rounds. I guess I don't see a lot of Jasmine Crockett in the circles I roll around in.
She shows up on my Reddit pretty regularly.
She popped up a couple times, but
that's where I see her.
Not to the extent for her to be named by everyone. I think there might have been one person who didn't say her name. She was the most common.
Really?
In the list, I think she might have been named the most.
Oh, that's fascinating.
She was named 3rd or 4th, by the person, but I think she was named by almost everybody, which is interesting.
Wow.
Right? That's an interesting note. Like, where she's not the first thing that comes to mind.
No. She's been in the news lately.
Always came to mind.
That's fascinating. So
I agree.
The person that was named the most
which was
often.
surprising to me. I'm aware of her, obviously.
Right.
I know what she's about.
I've seen clips.
Obviously. I haven't seen a clip of her in like a month.
Yeah, I think I saw one a week
clearly,
ago.
She either is making a lasting impression or I'm not getting her news. It's not coming to me.
I would say I'm going to go buy some Jasmine Crockett for president because she's so cheap right now.
Yeah. Is her stock rising or sinking right now?
Well, it certainly feels like it's going to be rising. Jasmine
That
Crockett
was
on the rise.
the most surprising answer, I think, for me.
Yeah. I was also surprised how little people mentioned AOC and Bernie.
Bernie was named less than AOC, and AOC wasn't named much.
Yeah, just a few times.
Those who named her, named her, though, to be fair. So when
her fans are...
When she was brought up, they were really like, oh, yeah, AOC's amazing. Like, she's really, really good.
Oh, okay.
If she was brought up.
So what can we learn about that? She has a smaller reach or something, but the people that she reaches...
less, but once she reaches you, her message resonates. Is my only takeaway I can take from it right now is...
Nobody said Jasmine Crockett is the one.
No, they mentioned her that she was really good.
But not like people claim AOC for their...
I mean, not quite. Yeah. They like Jasmine Crockett's energy, but I think the way they mentioned AOC is more of she could be running this ship.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Fascinating.
Bernie was mentioned very little.
Okay.
Outside of those who are even more tapped in than everyone out there and like Bernie's politics.
Right.
I heard Cory Booker a lot, Jasmine Crockett a lot. Who else did I hear? One person said Kamala and then said that she's doing nothing, which was really funny. Jamie Raskin was brought up a lot, which was a name I was like, all right. That's a name that I also was not very surprising.
Yeah. Where are they hearing about Jamie Raskin? Remember, I'm reading Drudge as my newswire and Reddit as my live feed of what's happening with the world and what's trending. So I'm not getting anything from him.
He's been popping up a bunch because he's the ranking member of the Judicial Oversight Committee.
So there's
so often holding Republicans' feet to the fire. Often. Same with Jasmine.
So where are those clips though?
Not on the social medias we use.
Okay, so I would say that that's a bit surprising because I did hear a few people
clearly
said
his
that.
popularity runs in circles we don't visit.
Yes.
Clearly.
So I'm just wondering...
He's not a Twitter, superhero.
Right. So I'm wondering what circles those people. So, okay, so this is another observation. This is fascinating. People that are aware of and like Jamie Raskin. By the way, what's...
Rep out of Maryland.
Rep out of Maryland. There is a media circle that I am entirely unaware of.
That really like him.
That seem to really like him.
Clearly, yeah.
Because I don't see him on Reddit. You don't see him much on Twitter.
Ever.
I don't see him on Drudge.
Unless he I saw him a few times and he was reaching over the table, choke holding some Republican. He was ready to kill somebody.
Interesting to hear that name mentioned. So we'll add
add
Jamie Raskin onto the the list of people to watch.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned Alyssa Slotkin, you said.
Nope.
Right?
No one mentioned Slotkin.
No mention of Alyssa.
No mention of Slotkin.
Okay, fascinating.
I would say that the internet, clearly, your popularity on the internet is highly dictated by the circles that you end up showing up in.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. I mean, I was aware of that, but politicians, I think, can kind of rise above that.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, that is still true for even politicians. Unless you're the president, you really can get segregated into certain groups on the internet.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like Raskin.
Sure.
I didn't think he made that much noise. Clearly, he makes a lot of noise.
He's making noise somewhere.
Clearly. Same with Jasmine Crockett. Clearly, she's...
But I've seen Jasmine Crockett where in my circles.
And I haven't.
See, I see her on Reddit all the time.
I don't see her much.
Yeah.
So that's another proof.
Right.
That she doesn't make the rounds...
Even on the same platform.
Even on the same platform, doesn't make quite the same rounds around me that it does you, which is interesting. So I just want to note that for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. It's fascinating.
Whereas the phenomenon of Trump kind of transcended that segregation originally in 2016. Trump was everywhere.
Oh, he was in every circle.
That's my point. He was in every circle. He was so
dominant
and charismatic or whatever it was that he transcended that.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. I think Obama would have had he ran more into a social media internet.
Yep.
Because he did, but not nearly like it is now.
Yeah. Well, he was at the very beginning of
he was at the beginning. So
social media.
Sure,
stuff.
he did, but there was 3 And so naturally he's in all three.
Right.
But I'm saying if he ran in like 2016 or 2020, he would have transcended.
I think so.
Right. So that's an interesting note. If you can transcend the segregation of the internet.
Point. Yeah. If you can transcend that, you can have a grip on the narrative. Oh, wow.
On everything.
What a fascinating observation.
Because Kamala did not do that.
Yeah, definitely
She could not do it.
Yeah, she didn't penetrate into all the circles.
She could not.
We wouldn't have been able to see that.
None of the Republicans did either.
Oh, no. Yeah, no Republicans did.
No.
Not like Trump.
Trump has a grip that's different than normal, but none of them even rivaled it.
Yeah, this was a fascinating study.
An interesting one that I did not hear much mention of was the governors.
Right. You made that point to somebody.
I heard the governors from one person naturally.
Yeah.
I had to bring up the governors to other people. Pritzker, for example.
Yeah. And I've seen him in my circles.
I see him too.
Lately.
Just
lately.
I see
last few weeks.
All the governors show up for me.
I don't get any other governor other than
I get Pritzker, I get Bashir.
Yeah.
And I get Newsom, but it's Newsom hate.
Yeah.
So,
I see very little
Newsom shows up.
Yeah, I see very little Newsom.
So the governors, there's several.
There was a couple people mentioned Whitmer.
One lady mentioned Whitmer.
Okay.
As mention of she's good, but now she's hitched her wagon to Trump, which is like not good politically for you.
Yeah.
If you don't win in the presidency.
Yeah. She's going to have to fall.
Yeah, it unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. Slotkin, who the Democrats have tried to elevate, no mention. And the governors, interestingly, also no mention. Despite Pritzker being very vocal and very antagonistic to the Trump presidency.
I think he hasn't penetrated yet. I think he's
Not quite.
I think he's so trending.
I'm interested if we did that experiment in 6 months.
6 months from now. Henceforth.
I'd like to see how much Pritzker shows up.
Is there anything else, by the way, that we feel like was a take-home message?
Kind of proud of everybody because the answers I got were much better than just 4 names, and that was it.
Yeah.
People really were putting in some thought, and I'm proud of the average voter for not.
I would say that
not just regurgitating what they heard. I could tell that these people were really thinking for themselves.
there was nobody that was
clearly just listening.
in a cult.
No. And it makes me very happy to hear, like, despite maybe your individual policy, everybody here seems pretty open and clearly thinking for themselves.
Yeah, right. There was too much variety.
Because you hear a lot of jokes about the average voter, or this or that or whatever.
I could make the argument, though, that the people that were out there today are not your average voter.
I suppose they're not the average voter, but I would say
more informed than your average voter.
I also feel like, no way to test this, I guess they'd have to tell us in the comments, is none of them really seem afraid to kind of talk to their friends and family about what's going on. Like, these aren't people who are shy.
Oh,
right.
Okay. These are people that are
like
not
that can be
shy.
a big thing. Like maybe they have a friend who's like, I mean, it looks bad, but I don't really know what's going on. And then I feel like everyone we spoke to would be willing to have a conversation about politics to them. Because I know not many people like talking about politics.
Sure.
I know that's a pretty common stereotype, right?
Sure.
I like that these people don't seem shy.
Okay.
And seem like they have conviction.
Yeah, they're
like they have a lot of conviction in what they said. And I like that. And it seems like they're also, because they spoke to us, willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
And share what they think and push for something better.
And that's, I think, how the movement that those people are out there fighting for, I think that's how it spreads.
That's how it grows, yeah. Get your friend, hey, come out, it's so much fun out here.
That's what
another
grassroots,
person.
I mean, that's literally what grassroots looks like.
Imagine if everyone out there brought one more person.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Yeah, if the crowd were twice as big.
Even for 20 minutes.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty cool that it
I love it. I love to see
it was exciting.
I love to see that democracy in action.
Yeah, it was very good to see.
It's a beautiful thing.
So
I wanted to close it out with this. I think the next protest, I feel like a better question would be, rather than who is the Democratic leader.
Which was an interesting question. I did like the question.
We could leave that question, or we could, but you kind of did this anyway. You helped people along when they were kind of stuck on the question is, okay, well, who are some people you like, or who are some people that you think might run in 2028?
Yeah.
Or,
try to help them along.
Open it up a little bit.
It is a lot of a question if you're not ready for that question. It can be. If you're trying to give it serious thought, it can be like, shit, who have I heard of?
That was the test, is there Trump? Is there that Trump
No,
figure?
not
is
at
there
all.
one guy?
Yeah, not at all.
And I feel like in my circles, I'm kind of wondering, is it going to be AOC or Bernie? when
Clearly, that's not the consensus
it's
out
clear,
there.
even amongst passionate people who are paying attention. I'm surprised that AOC and Bernie weren't much higher on the list. I feel like if Bernie and AOC came to town, all of those people would go.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I guess I'm just surprised that we didn't hear that name more, but that's why we're spreading the message.
We're trying to spread the message, yeah.
Yeah. All right, great. And that message is that we are part of the 99% and that we're all in this together.
Yes.
And also you can have my democracy when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers.